Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio NBA Closing Time Show, Sunday, May 23rd. Ian Cameron, Conor Mac, Skee Profit, and Dutch Boy Fresh. We are back ready to break down the Sunday NBA playoffs card. There's a game about to tip off, Washington, Philadelphia, TNT. Nice to have TNT back in the mix today after seeing the Mickey Mouse presentation from Jay Williams, Jalen Rose and company on ESPN yesterday. Nice to have a real crew back there doing the halftimes today. But nevertheless, we're back. We're ready. Washington, Philly's about to tip, guys, so let's get to it. We got Philly here, 8-point favorites, 227 and a half, the total in this game. It's one of those games where Philly's an elite defensive team. Can Washington score enough? I think Philly's going to score at will. I was going back and forth. I kind of like the full game over because I think Philly's just going to score at will at the rim. Like, there's nobody on Washington that's going to stop Embiid, Simmons, or anyone else that attacks the paint. But can Washington do enough offensively against a good Sixer D to push that game over, the full game over? Because I lean that way. I did bet that, but I'm thinking maybe the Sixer team total, specifically isolating that, might be a better way to go here in this game. But that's basically what I would look at here. I don't know about laying the 8, and I'm sort of starting to adopt the baseball philosophy with basketball. Maybe I should have done that with the Bucks yesterday, find another way to bet them rather than laying 4.5. Look team totals, look props, look at other ways if you don't love the number where the side is. So instead of -8 with Philly, I think I like the team total over specifically a little bit better with the Sixers. Dutch, let's start with you. Your thoughts, this game tipping off in minutes here, Wiz and Sixers.
Yeah, I could only really look Sixers. I'll be quick. I just think they're a better team all around. I love me some Russ and Bill, but they're overmatched from, start to finish. And really, I think Simmons will have a great series. And I look at this game particular because I got a couple of things going with Simmons, but he's super juiced. I like the over 12.5 points, -115 for Seth Curry, excuse me. I wish it was Steph with that number, right? But yeah, Seth Curry, I expect him to get his, have a lot of open shots with Embiid. They're going to obviously look to swarm Embiid. Curry's averaging 18 in 3 meetings versus them, and he's right at 15 and a half points his last 7 games of the season. But like I mentioned, I expect him just to get wide open shots. We talked about him a little bit on the show briefly. He gets going, get a couple. He could throw 20 up there pretty easily. You just need a couple shots to go in. But I expect him to easily get over this 12.5 points.
All right, there we go. A nice player prop look there from Dutch. Skee, what do you think here? Washington, Philadelphia. We got you on mute.
My bad.
Right now.
Quick shooter because I know game's going to go off, but I look towards Ben Simmons, points, rebounds, assists. If I'm playing the spread, I'll be looking at the Sixers. I just think that they're going to have a lot of trouble stopping Embiid, and Sixers defensively are light years better than the Wizards. So I like that. I think the Wizards can get some buckets too. If I had to play the total, I would go over, and those are the only 3 ways I would look to play it.
Yeah, my thought is Philadelphia probably wins today, maybe cruises, and I'm maybe going to be interested in Washington plus the points in game 2 and a little bounce back zigzag thing because I could see that being a good spot, Washington regrouping and being a little bit better. I think they could be in tough today, though. What do you think, Connor, Sixers and Wizards?
Yeah, I think Sixers first half I'd feel a little bit better about. You start getting 8.5, I don't know, I could see late buckets. I stayed off the game. I didn't bet anything, any props on this one. And I'd lean over just a bit too. This is light. I know Sixers, we talk about, they have solid defense and they're ready to be able to score at will on the Wiz. But 227's, that's probably 10 points lighter than any other playing a garbage team. But I'm an under guy in the playoffs, so that's why I stayed away. So I'd lean a little bit over, but I could see an under here as well.
All right, the second of the 2 afternoon games, Suns and Lakers getting it going in the desert. We got the Suns down to about 2-point favorites now in this game. I believe the total was around 217, 218 last I checked. The Suns were a team that I kind of really liked the way their trajectory was going about 2 months ago. Can't say I feel that same way with the way they finished the season. Wasn't a great finish to the season for Monty Williams' crew defensively. Their defensive aptitude certainly declined significantly. And look, we have question marks still about, the guys that have got to get the job done for the Suns at playoff time. Chris Paul, can he do it in the postseason? Devin Booker's tasting the playoffs now for the first time. Are they ready for this series? Are they ready for this? Because playoffs are different than regular season. Some teams are regular season teams, and some can be playoff teams and elevate themselves. We don't know that yet about the Suns. We'll find out quickly because we know the Lakers, they do have that championship pedigree. They are healthy finally. They are still one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. So we'll see if the Suns can overcome that. I'm sure the atmosphere is going to be great. This is a team that hasn't been in the playoffs for a very long time. They've had an extremely successful season. This has already been, an amazing season for the Suns, regardless of what they do the rest of the way. Could they ride that in game one? I'm reluctant to go against teams like the Suns or the Knicks for that matter. Home games for teams in the playoffs for the first time in a while. I think the Lakers win the series. A game one, I'm not sure. I'm just anxious to jump on the Lakers. It's a game that I'm probably going to pass, and we'll see what happens in game one. And based on that, we'll make a decision what we do with game two later on this week. Skee, I know you said on Friday when we did the series preview of this Lakers-Suns matchup, you said you were kind of worried about game one for the Lakers. Are you still feeling that way?
Oh, I think it's a pretty good spot for the Suns, who've been just sitting there waiting. And like you said, first time in the playoffs in a long time. And the Lakers, I know LeBron said he's good to go, but we'll see how healthy he looks. And I just think in this kind of series, the Lakers get better as it goes on. So I wouldn't be taking the Lakers to win in this one. If I want to play on the Lakers, I would play probably the team total, just because the team total over, just because coming down the stretch, like Phoenix defense was really lacking at the end of the season. So until they show me that they can step it back up, I think that there's mismatches like Anthony Davis, who's going to guard him, et cetera, et cetera. So I think the Lakers score. I wouldn't necessarily take them to win this first game, but I do think they win the series. And if I'm going to play a prop, it's Anthony Davis points.
Yeah, and obviously if the Suns have success in the playoffs, we know it's Booker and Paul are going to be the first and foremost. But Jay Crowder, does it got him for playoff time? See what he can do for the Phoenix Suns. We know he was great with the Miami Heat last year in the postseason. Can he bring that again this year for the Suns? Dutch, what do you think here? Suns hosting the Lakers.
Yeah, to follow up on that AD prop, definitely like that. It's 25.5 was what I got at. I believe it's went up to 26.5, but you could get, it's plus money there. Hopefully you can still look at that 25.5. But he got 42 against them recently. And then, he's went 25 plus 4 of his last 6. So I really like AD. Like Skee was saying, who's going to stop him? And to me, I don't have action on either side of this game, but I definitely wouldn't. I mean, I could see the Suns winning, but I would have to probably take the Lakers at plus money value here, simply because they got pretty tested against the Warriors. Wasn't an easy game. The health of the LeBron obviously is an issue. See if he's 100, but I believe he'll be, good and ready. But, I'm going to stay away from his side a little bit more. I got a little beat up yesterday with these games. But I do look for Schroeder to bounce back. He had a rough game against the Warriors, probably one of his rougher games of the season, 3 or 14 from the field, minus 20 when he was on the court. He's averaging 19.5 against them in 2 meetings this year. I look for Schroeder to attack. I don't like Chris Paul from a defensive aspect. Really, either Booker either. I don't like the backcourt from Phoenix as a defensive aspect. And I don't really like him anywhere recently. Usually Ayton was protecting the paint a little bit, but of late they've been, barbecue chicken down there, as you could say. So I definitely like Schroeder over 12.5 points. That's minus 115 at most books.
All right, Dennis Schroeder to get the points going for the Lakers today. Player prop look from Dutch. Yeah, I mean, Lakers did lose game one against Portland last year, first round. We remember that in the bubble, but then they didn't lose after that. They won 4 straight after that and took the series in 5. Yeah, so, maybe if the Lakers are vulnerable in one game in this series, maybe it's today. And again, very excited, frenzied environment. You can expect that in Phoenix today. You can certainly expect that at the Garden tonight when the Knicks play their first home playoff game in a very long time. So maybe that's a boost for these teams today. These playoff teams that have been out and down and out for years, and they finally get a home playoff game. You could see them really be bolstered by that crowd and that energy. What do you think, Connor, here, Lakers and Suns?
Yeah, this game could go a bunch of different ways. I think game one here, I think the Suns come out hot and probably win pretty easily. Or like I said, the bright lights, maybe this team might take it to them. Same thing with the Lakers. They they got a gel. Everyone kind of just got back, LeBron and everybody. So maybe they're a little slow to get off here. Maybe look Suns first half. Maybe they get hot Booker. Because full game, I don't bet it, but I'd still, like Dutch, you mentioned, I'd take Lakers with some points here. And even at the bucket, being close. That's why I said if we could get a 3 the other day would be big with the Lakers. The total, go ahead, bro.
No, I was saying, I wish I would have got on that 3 when you said that.
Yeah, I know. I saw it at 1 or 2 spots, and I didn't. Yeah, I know. I talked about it, didn't jump on it. I think the total's right there. Lakers got the good defense. A couple of games went under a total like this. The last one, I believe, went over. And I just don't really have any feeling on that. Kind of lean towards the under, but we're getting low here at 213. It's dropped, 2-3 points here. And prop-wise, Anthony Davis, you guys mentioned it. I think his points and rebounds, for him to get a double-double, is plus 110. And I look the same on the other side. Other than Booker, Chris Paul's got to be the guy. So I look at him and his points over 17.5 and his assists over 9.5 for plus 107. You combine that, get his double-double is plus 130. So I think those two guys would be a good look player prop here.
Yeah, absolutely. As I see Marv Albert on my screen right here, this is going to be his final year, final playoffs with TNT. So this is the end of the road for Marv. And look, I know Marv's, we've seen tough times with Marv where he's calling a shot for 3 and he's clearly inside the arc. We've seen incidents like that the last few years. I don't want to think of that when I remember Marv Albert after his final playoff run here. I'm going to remember the glory days. He was the NBC voice of the NBA for the Jordan era, Kobe and Shaq with the Lakers in the 2000s, when Marv Albert has been one of the best still over the last several decades. So this is his swan song. He's calling this Philly game here, and he'll be calling the East Final for the final time. So Marv Albert, great career, no question, in the booth, voice of the NBA for decades. Atlanta and New York, this should be good. And really, the last time the Knicks were good, Marv Albert was on NBC, which was like the 90s. So tells you how long it's been for the New York Knicks when Sprewell and all them and Starks and all them were on those Knicks teams. We've got the Knicks here, pretty much pick 'em -1 in this game against Atlanta, 215 the total. I'm on the Knicks here. This is probably the side I like the most today on this NBA card. I like the Knicks in the series, but I like the game 1 intangibles as well. You get this team playing their first home playoff game at Madison Square, Spike Lee going nuts on the sideline. You don't think that's going to get Julius Randle and RJ Barrett and company fired up for this game? I would think they'll be extremely excited, energized. Now, sometimes that can be nervous energy and you don't play well. I don't think it'll happen today. I think this is a great series. I think this is a long series. It's a competitive one. I think I'll just side with the team I think is a little bit better defensive team. That's the Knicks. I think you could say depth-wise, maybe overall talent throughout the lineup, Atlanta has a slight edge. Coaching, I'm not a big McMillan guy, so whatever thoughts you have about Thibodeau not winning in the playoffs, you could say the same about McMillan too. I just like the better defensive team. I like them coming out strong, coming out hot in front of them at that MSG crowd. First home playoff game for the Knicks in forever. I like New York here to get the win, and that's all they have to do. If they win, they'll cash a ticket for you. Dutch, what do you think here? Hawks, Knicks.
Yeah, real quick, Sean, I would do that. He said 13.5 for Schroeder now. I said he's getting 15, bro. Shout out to Razor as well, my guy. I'm right with you on that. The one side I got is the Knicks is a pick 'em. We don't got to worry about a spread. It's a beautiful thing to me. I like the Knicks. I think they're undervalued all year. I've made a lot of money off of them. But when it comes to the Hawks, they're 0-5 ATS in their last 5 road games. Now they're 0-6-1 ATS in their last 7 meetings versus New York, and 1-4 ATS in their last 5 in New York. So they don't play good basketball in New York, period, or in this matchup. With the fans coming back, the momentum of it being their playoffs, I just don't see them losing this game. I do think this will be a tough series, and I don't think it's a lock by any means, or for sure that the Knicks win this series. I think Atlanta's going to put it to them, to put them to the test. But I do believe the Knicks game 1 is a good spot. I really like this spot. And I really like Julius Randle over 26.5 points. It is juiced at -125. And it's averaging 38.5 points in the 3 meetings this year versus Atlanta. He eats them up. He gets what he wants. Capella, whoever's down there, Collins, whoever's down there, he gets what he wants. As long as Randall's aggressive, which I expect him to be, he's getting us 30 points tonight. So over 26.5 points, and definitely looking at the Knicks. Now, the Knicks are 9-1 ATS in their last 10 versus the Eastern Conference. I can give you tons of stats about the Knicks. They make money. So I'm going to go it's a pick. I'm going to be a Knickerbocker for sure today.
All right, going to be a Knickerbocker at a pick'em price to get the job done against Atlanta. Man, it's layup city early in this game for the Sixers. That ghost-like interior defense of the Wizards showing up early in this one. So Dutch liking the Knicks as well. Skee, what do you think here, Atlanta, New York?
Yeah, I'll be interested if Capella and Collins both played in those games where Randall went off. But if you're going to play the Knicks, I guess you will be playing on Randall because that's the majority of their offense where it's going to come from. Also, if you like the Knicks, I would just take them first half because they're the best first half team in the league. I would get in and get out. I see everybody liking the Knicks today, and that's what I really don't like. I see the line coming back, money coming back on Atlanta. I think they're the better offensive team. Usually I pick defense over offense. I don't know. The way I'm watching this line and thinking Atlanta it's a pick 'em type game. I would just go against the crowd. Go against the public and take the Hawks.
You know what? That worked out well for anyone on Memphis on Friday night in that play-in game against Golden State. I don't think anybody liked Memphis. Did they write a Memphis ticket? One in Vegas on Friday night? I'm not.
I liked him, but I didn't pull the trigger.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, he was on him +5 and money line. So I mean, but I get what you're saying though. The whole world liked the Warriors.
Yeah.
But to follow up on what Skee said, I think he said if Capella was out there. Yeah, Capella was out there. And Randall was still getting his money, bro. Capella's getting his ass worked down low. And then also the first half with the Knicks in the meeting. Now the Knicks are 3-0 ATS this year against the Hawks, but in the first half they were outscored by 8 points. That's why I'm like, I kind of stayed away from the first half because in this series the Knicks have actually lost the first half. So. And then they came back and won it. And then one game, obviously, they won in overtime. They actually won by 10 in overtime. So, but just to follow up on them, my man.
Yeah, they've been a first-half machine, except for against Atlanta, based on those numbers, for sure. Right. Atlanta's the one team that struggled early in the game. Connor, what do you think here? I know you got to be on the Knicks, right, Connor? They've been your team all year, right?
I know. How can I back off now? I got to. And you mentioned it, first half. Full game, I think it's the Knicks here. That place has got to be rocking. Maybe the pressure is a little tight. You know what I'd like a little better? Maybe like to be everyone's on the Knicks is if the Atlanta was catching a few points. It's just a pick 'em here. If they were catching 3, I'd be maybe interested. But it's a pick 'em here. How can I go off the Knicks now? And I'd lean towards the under a little bit. Towards the end of the year, they started going back to their defense. And playing a bit under, so I lean the under 213 here as well.
Yeah, no, it's a good series. It's a competitive series. Atlanta's a very good team themselves. Nothing wrong with them. And
bad on the road too. That's the only. They're not a great road team.
And the frenzied environment of the first playoff game in years at MSG. That's something that I think that matters here in this game for the Knicks. How about this final game today? It's a series we weren't necessarily expecting. Everybody at Golden State penciled in to play Utah in the first round, but it's the Memphis Grizzlies instead against the Utah Jazz. Utah 9-point favorites here, 217 the total. Donovan Mitchell is playing, is likely expected to be back. We know Conley's back for sure for the Utah Jazz for this game. Obviously, if they have all hands on deck, that would be significant for the Utah Jazz moving forward. This is one of those series where I don't know if I'm a big believer in what Memphis is doing. Was that maybe a case of Golden State running out of gas? That was a pretty big physical, taxing, emotional game and an investment in it for the Warriors against LA. I don't want to totally excuse them for what happened the other night against Memphis because, look, Memphis has played well. But I definitely think it's a situation where you've got the Utah Jazz. I think I would have been more adept to expect them to struggle against Golden State than here against Memphis. I don't want to lay 9 with Utah. I don't know if I trust Memphis enough. Keep in mind, they played Wednesday, they played Friday, and now a short turnaround, very little prep time. Go out to Utah, play this Jazz team. It's not a good situational element for the Grizzlies to start this series here in game 1. So, yeah, Memphis, that's exactly right, Dennis, 100%. You're basically hitting on what I'm thinking could be exhausted. You went down to the wire with the Lakers. The Memphis game was a game that went right down to the wire as well. Are you exhausted? And you're playing in the altitude of Salt Lake City. That's got to be a concern here. I just don't know if I'm ready to lay 9 with Utah, but I couldn't endorse Memphis in this spot. I just would want no part of the Grizzlies here. Maybe an over 217, especially if the Jazz are going to have their backcourt for this game. Could see some points being scored, so lean to the over. Other than that, might wait for game 2 when it comes to this series. Dutch, what do you think here? Memphis and Utah.
Yeah, I think this line's real sharp, to be honest with you. Now, I'm not in a hurry to lay this points with the Jazz, even though they could cover very easily. Now, they're 1-5 ATS in their last 6 as a favorite in the playoffs. And for the series, they're 3-0 straight up in the series, 1-2 ATS, but with the +8 points margin. So that tells you this line right here at 9, is pretty good. I think it's really sharp. I wouldn't be surprised if the Grizz cover backdoor or something like that. What I was really looking at is Jordan Clarkson. Now I couldn't find a number for the life of me at any of the books that no one's offering Jordan Clarkson from what I was seeing. Maybe he'll show up a little bit later, but he's been getting off. He's been killing it. He's averaging 26 in his last 2 meetings versus the Grizzlies. In his last 7 overall, he's averaging 27.5 points. Now I know Mitchell coming back is gonna, but Clarkson gets his minutes off the bench. He knows his role. His role is not really gonna change. Might not get as many minutes or attempts, but I still think he'll get his. So if we can find a solid number on there, if it's around like 19, anything under 20, I would like that. And then also with Morant, I didn't lock this in, but I know it's kind of, hey, I had a great game and it's kind of high, but it's only 21.5. He's averaging 26.5 against them in 3 meetings this year. He's put up 32 different times against them. I wouldn't be surprised if Morant hits that as well.
And he's going to have a big series, absolutely, for the Grizzlies to have a puncher's chance in it. Skee, what do you think here? Memphis and Utah.
Almost there, Razor. Almost had that 2-horse. But Memphis and Utah, I agree with what Dennis said. Memphis is probably exhausted. I can't really go crazy on Memphis anymore. They kind of shut me up now. John Morant's like, who can't shoot? He's out there lighting it up. So
Put fingers.
I'll just say I think Utah's been sitting here waiting. And Memphis has been having to grind out every single game. So I think Utah can come in here and get it done by margin.
So Skee leaning toward the Utah Jazz here, -9. Connor, where do you stand here? Grizzlies and Jazz.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I really don't love the game. I guess I lean the Jazz. This is the playoffs and it's almost double digits, 10 points. So I pump the brakes a little bit. I lean that way. Jazz should be fresh, be a little bit healthy. They haven't played in a while. Memphis has had those games. Now they got to go into Utah, the altitude. I'm with you. I talked about it the last few games. The guy's got to be Morant. So if I'm going to play a player prop, his points over 21.5, it's plus money. He's got to come up big. He's got to score over 20 a night for sure for them to be in it. So that'd be the guy I'd look at, again, the player prop here.
All right. Excellent stuff. Yeah, by the way, underdogs 3-1 against the spread yesterday in the Saturday NBA playoff games. We've got the Heat covered the number. Dallas with the outright win as dogs against the LA Clippers. And, of course, Portland. They were small dogs, Portland, but dogs nevertheless. They beat Denver and covered as well. Quick thoughts on the Clippers, guys, before we get to best bets. Throw it out there. Are we worried about the Clippers at all? Or is it, hey, it's only game 1. Let's calm down. It's like the Clippers can win in Dallas. It's not like, wow, they've lost home court advantage. They're really, really in trouble. They can win in Dallas. They're definitely capable. But are we a little bit concerned after what we saw? Kawhi didn't even have a really good game, missing free throws too. That's not like him. So there's a small concern for the Clippers. Are we panicking yet, though? Dutch, what do you think?
Yeah, Kawhi, man, I'm pretty salty about Kawhi. Fucking missing that free throw. I had him 26.5. He finished with 26, and then I don't know if you've seen, he aired the like a foot short on a 12-footer right before that when they're down 5. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I told you yesterday I like the Clippers in this series. I do think they're deep. They're talented with Ibaka coming off the bench. But, Luka probably is the best player on the court. He definitely looked like it yesterday. He's definitely the most confident, has the most, swag about him. So, I don't know what to think right now. I'm going to look at game 2, and I'll look for the Clippers to bounce back in game 2. because Mavericks have done this. They have looked really great and then looked real shitty the next point. So I would expect the Clippers to bounce back, but not in a hurry to touch them right now.
All right, Skee, level of concern. I know as a Laker fan, you'd love to be extremely concerned about those LA Clippers, but are you concerned about them with an unbiased opinion?
I would have to think that they were going to make some noise to be concerned about them in the first place. So I think it's the same old Clippers. Clippers going to clip. That's how I feel.
Pandemic P, man. Shit is no joke.
Yeah.
There you go. Pandemic. True. That's an excellent point. You're starting to there's something to that now. Connor, Clippers, are we worried?
I think they'll be fine. I think they'll win the series, but I think Dallas probably wins one more game. I think it's because of Luka. I talked about he had an unreal first half, got him going. To me, I know Kawhi is probably around, but right now he's just young. He's the best player on the court, especially when he's hot. So when he has big quarters like that, especially that first quarter that got him going, and then they just kind of rolled and held on at the end. Yeah, when you got that guy on the floor, you're always in it. So there's a chance for the Mavs, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Real quick, Ian. Dennis Garcia says it took like 5 minutes for Pandemic P to start trending on Twitter. And then I also saw Astaire said that he saw in the Clippers fan page or something on Reddit, like they talk about PG, Paul George, they call it PGTSD.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah, I stopped counting on him in the postseason long ago. Paul George for the LA Clippers. I mean, this is unbelievable. This guy,
though, man.
Like the dichotomy regular season to playoffs with this guy, it's uncanny. It really is. I mean, it's just shocking to me. It's like two different human beings occupying that body. Nevertheless, Clippers, the Doc Rivers were showing him on camera. Aren't you glad you're not there anymore, Doc? But now in Philly. Good stuff, guys. We'll get to best bets and wrap up this show. We'll get so that we can get to watching this rest of this Philly game. We'll get to best bets in just a second. First, though, a message from Manscaped. All right, there it is. Manscaped. Check them out. Promo code PubSports. And also mybookie.ag. We've got the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs and the NBA playoffs on a daily basis. Major League Baseball as well. Lots to keep you involved from a sports betting standpoint. Check out mybookie.ag. Bitcoin accepted currency for your deposit. Mybookie.ag. Promo code PubSports. Let's get to best bets here for this Sunday slate. Dutch, we'll start with you. What do you got for us for a best bet?
Okay, yeah, this one's tough, man, because it's been running a little bad the last couple of days. But I'm going to have to go with what the numbers tell me and what I like. And I was going to go with the Knicks as I am on the pick 'em, but I'll go with Julius Randle over 26.5 points. I expect him to eat. You know, if he's got to get his for the Knicks to win. So let's get those two together.
All right, there we go. Knicks money line pick 'em, and also Julius Randle over points, player prop from Dutch. Skee, best bet. What do you like?
If I'm picking a game for today, my best bet would probably be the Jazz. I just think that everything catches up to Memphis, and the Jazz kind of run away with the game. But I will say, if you want to know what I'm really going to say is my best bet today, if the Lakers lose and it's plus money for the series, you know who will be at the window.
Jump it, yeah.
There you go. Good word of warning out there, right there from Ski Prophet. He's ready. Conor Mac, what do you think here? Best bet for today?
I won't go with the player prop. Even though I like the Knicks, of course, I think they win today. I'm going to take the under 213. I know it's dropped 213.5. It's dropped a couple points, but they got to play defense to win, and it might be close. I think that's a little bit better here. So give me the Knicks Hawks under 213.5.
All right, Knicks Hawks under 213.5 for Conor Mac for best bet. And mine, it has to be New York. It's clearly my strongest feel on the board today, but opinion. New York Knicks pick them against the Atlanta Hawks. Game one, ride that energy of Madison Square Garden, which should be a terrific atmosphere, terrific environment for game one tonight. First time in years for the Knicks. And let that defense make the stops down the stretch. and that's what they're capable of doing. I think they will get it done. Knicks in game 1 over the Hawks. That'll be my best bet for this Sunday card. And that'll wrap things up. A reminder, we're back tomorrow. Connor's back tomorrow. I'm not. I got my COVID shot tomorrow, so I will be off both shows, the baseball show.
Careful with that.
Yeah, and the NBA show. Yeah. Whatever.
He's like, yeah,
whatever. Yeah, I'll be fine. Yeah, but so I'll be away tomorrow, baseball and NBA. These guys will take care of you. Connor and Skee on the baseball show, Connor, Skee, and Dutch on the NBA show. So make sure you tune in tomorrow. I'll be back Tuesday here on the channel for both the MLB and the NBA shows. For Skee Profit, Dutch Boy Fresh, Conor Mac, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Sunday. Enjoy the games and good luck. We'll see you again. I'll see you Tuesday. They'll see you tomorrow right here on Pub Sports Radio.